Morning, all. All right, we have 5 games in tonight's National Hockey League with one postponement. The postponement being the Islanders and the Bruins. And we'll see if the Bruins take to the ice tomorrow or not. That's the earliest that they could possibly return to the ice. And for the Islanders, they get a night off. So they played last night, so they get a night off tonight rather than playing tonight. We have one game starting at 7 o'clock Eastern because that other game's been postponed. And then we have 2 at 8 o'clock, 1 at 8:30, and 1 at 10 o'clock. So nicely spread out games today, tomorrow as well. So the 7 o'clock game, 4 o'clock Pacific, is the 11-14-4 New Jersey Devils in against the 15-11-4 Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers have won both meetings. If New Jersey's going to make a real run at this, and I don't know that they will, but they're 4-4-2 in their last 10. If they're going to make a run, they have to beat the teams that are ahead of them. Now the Flyers are 3-6-1 in their last 10. They had an overtime loss in their most recent game last night, so we'll see how things go for them. Pavel Zacha in 28 games with New Jersey, 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points. And Zacha had that point streak going, and we'll see whether or not he can get that going again. Jesper Bratt, of course, overtime winner. He now has 2 goals and 12 assists in 23 games. There's more offense there than those 2 goals would tell you, too. And on the Philadelphia side, you've got Hayes, 30 games played, 9 goals, 12 assists. Everybody in Philadelphia seems to be struggling. Hayes is prominent. It's just not getting the points and goals that he was earlier in the year. And Farabee, 29 games, 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points. He's been pretty consistent throughout, and it's going to be guys like this that have to help turn things around for the Flyers. And it will be Carter Hart playing tonight. And then an hour later, at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, we get the Florida Panthers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago's dropped. Absolutely. They're now 14-13-5. They're sitting below the playoff line, and they need to get things going. The thing is, 4th place in the Central right now looks like it's still reachable. Columbus isn't setting the world on fire. Neither's Dallas, Nashville, Detroit. These teams are all still, absolutely ones that Chicago can get past. Now, they have to beat Florida tonight, though. They have to start showing they can beat teams ahead of them. Florida's 7-3. They lost their last game, that thriller against Tampa. The Chicago Blackhawks are 3-6-1 in their last 10. They lost their last 4 in regulation. It does feel like the wheels are coming off. There's also been talk again about whether or not Subban or Lankinen are good enough. It's back. And I think they can be. I think recent games have just shown that Chicago isn't quite at that level, which we didn't expect them to be before the season started. Barkov, 31 games played for Florida, 13 goals, 24 assists, 37 points. Absolutely fantastic run he's been on, of course. And Patrick Hornqvist, 31 games, 12 goals, 13 assists, 25 points. I'll get this figured out. And for Hornqvist, it has been such a fantastic fit with Florida. I really think it's been an impressive showing for him, and the Panthers made a really smart move picking him up. On the Chicago front, DeBrincat, 28 games, 16 goals, 15 assists, 31 points. Continues to be the best goal scorer that this team has. And that's all that was expected of him 2 years ago. And then, of course, last season didn't quite work out, but that happens with players. Soderberg, 27 games, 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points. When he's played, I think he's been useful, and I think getting some goals from depth guys would be handy for getting themselves out of this mess that they've got themselves into. So, we'll see whether or not Chicago can do that tonight. Also at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, the 10-18-4 Detroit Red Wings in against the 14-17-1 Nashville Predators. Both teams have won 2 against the other this year. And for Detroit, they're 4-5-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game against Dallas. And for Nashville, they're 4-5-1 in their last 10. They won their last game. So for Nashville, they've won, I think it's 3 out of 4. They've beaten Tampa. They've beaten Florida in those last 4 games. They need to take advantage of these games against Detroit. They need to basically go out there, win them. If they can win in laughers, that'd be even better. The thing is, Detroit's playing better and better as the season goes along. And while the top-end talent isn't necessarily there, they've proven they're very tough out. Larkin, 28 games played, 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points. Nemesnikov, who may very well be going at the deadline, maybe one of those guys who's a good rental somewhere. 30 games, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points for him. On the Nashville front, Tolvanen, who seems to get better each game and get more and more comfortable with the added ice time. 23 games, 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points. Ryan Johansson, 24 games, 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points. And it feels like some of these guys are starting to wake up and get things started. Did they wait till too late? And my answer to that would be probably not, because, again, it looks like 4th place in this division could be up for grabs. Then a half an hour later, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, you've got the Tampa Bay Lightning in against the Dallas Stars. Tampa Bay 23-6-2, and Dallas is 10-10-8. And I still think they're going for 10-10-10. At this point, I might be disappointed if they don't have a record of 10-10-10 at some point. I could just Ty Dillinger it up. Tampa Bay has won all 3 meetings so far this year. The last one they won in extra time, because that's where Dallas loses. Over their last 10, Tampa's 7-2-1. They've won 4 in a row. Dallas is 4-2-4, and their most recent game was an overtime loss, because of course it was. So yeah, it's been a rough go for Dallas, and we'll see whether or not they can get a win over Tampa. Palat, 31 games, 11 goals, 17 assists, 28 points. One of the best kept secrets in hockey is Andre Palat this year. He has been fantastic. And Anthony Cirelli, 25 games, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points. We talk a lot about Stone and his spot as the best two-way forward. Ryan O'Reilly, Patrice Bergeron, Sean Couturier, Barkov as well in Florida. Well, Cirelli is also going to be in those conversations at the end of the season, because we have a lot of two-way forwards. It feels like in the National Hockey League now, because you need to be able to play that 200-foot game more than would have been the case in the 80s or early 90s, we have a lot more Selke-level forwards than I think the league's ever had. Jamie Benn is not one of those. Set 24 games, 5 goals, 10 assists. And his scoring hasn't bounced back the way that I thought it was going to bounce back a little bit from last year. It really hasn't. Pavelski, 28 games, 14 goals, 14 assists, 28 points. He's not producing at the fantastic level he was early in the season, but he is still the most consistent threat that Dallas has up front. And then an hour and a half later, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, the last game of the night, is the Avalanche in against the Arizona Coyotes. The Avs have now won 4 out of 5 against the Coyotes, and last night was a lot more authoritative of a victory than we could have seen in their last 2 meetings before that with Arizona, where Arizona actually beat them once with a goaltender stealing the game. Colorado wasn't having any of that last night. Colorado's now 28-2. Arizona's 13-14-5. Over their last 10, Colorado's 8-1-1. They've won 7 in a row. The Arizona Coyotes are 3-5-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game. Donskoy, 30 games, 10 goals, 11 assists, 21 points. I've always talked about how much I like the player. It's nice to see the scoring finally equaling the work ethic. His work ethic's always been excellent. McKinnon, 26 games, 9 goals, 23 assists, 32 points. And it's remarkable that total would be seen as kind of a disappointment. He's been slow at times. 32 points in 26 games, not too shabby. And on the Arizona side, Ekman Larson, 22 games, 1 goal, 12 assists, 13 points. He finally got his first goal of the season in the last game. Let's see if he adds to it tonight. Phil Kessel, 32 games, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points. He is one of those guys that if Arizona's going to get this going, get the train on the right track, Kessel's going to have to be one of the guys that puts it there. But we'll see what happens when the games get played tonight. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.